Okay, so get this. The API economy is exploding. It's way more than just apps talking to each other.
Right.
Like, we're talking a fundamental shift in how business gets done.
Yeah.
So to help us navigate this new landscape, we're doing a deep dive
Okay.
into a presentation by API expert Mehdi Medjaoui from API Days Hong Kong 2023.
Mehdi Medjaoui. He is a big name in the API world,
Yeah.
As chairman of the API Days conferences, Medjaoui has his finger on the pulse of the evolution of APIs.
For sure. So what are we looking to get out of this deep dive?
When Medjaoui talks about APIs, people listen. And we're going to break down his insights.
Okay.
Really try to give everyone a clear understanding of where APIs are headed.
All right. Sounds good.
Whether you're a tech whiz or just API curious, this is for you.
I like it. So one of the things that really stuck out to me from this presentation is this idea of companies needing to embrace what Medjaoui calls an API mindset.
Yes.
So API mindset, I got to be honest, sounds a little buzzwordy at first.
Right.
What does that actually mean? And what are the consequences if companies don't make that shift?
Yeah, so think about it like this. In the past, companies often treated APIs like the plumbing of their systems, right?
Okay.
Kind of hidden away. Just something for the tech folks to worry about.
Yeah.
But this API mindset, this is about making APIs central to the company's strategy, their culture even.
So it's not just a tech thing, it's a whole business thing.
Yeah, it's about designing your entire business around this idea of interconnectedness, making your data and services easily accessible, usable for others, outside of your company even.
So it's less about just building APIs and more about baking them into the DNA of the company.
Exactly. You got it. And to get this point across, Medjaoui uses a really interesting analogy. Lego blocks.
Lego blocks, huh? All right, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So imagine you've got a box of Legos.
Okay.
The individual blocks are cool, right? But they're not that exciting on their own. The real magic happens when you start putting them together. One person might build a castle, another person might build a spaceship, all from that same basic set of bricks.
Okay, so the APIs are like those Lego bricks, and it's not enough to just have them. It's about what you choose to build.
Yes.
And what you enable other people to build, too.
Exactly. It's not just about API use. It's about API reuse.
Reuse, not just use. Okay. Now, I definitely need you to break that down because...
Okay.
What is the distinction, first of all, and then why should this matter to, say, someone who's never even looked at a line of code?
Right. So it's about designing APIs that can be plugged into countless other systems and applications. Just like those Lego blocks, you can create things you might never have imagined.
Okay.
So let's take weather data as an example.
Okay.
A well-designed weather API, this could be used by travel apps.
Sure.
To show the forecast, at your destination.
Yeah.
It could be used by farming platforms to optimize irrigation, even by event organizers.
Oh, interesting.
To decide if they need a backup indoor venue.
So instead of building a one-trick pony, you're building a versatile tool that can be used in all these different contexts.
Exactly. Yeah. And this focus on reusability, Medjaoui says, it's driving what he calls the horizontal colonization of business systems.
Oh.
So APIs are no longer just connecting point A to point B within a company, right?
Right.
They're weaving themselves into the fabric of entire industries.
Okay, horizontal colonization. Help me see that. What does that actually look like?
Okay, so think about how we order food online these days.
Yeah.
You might use an app on your phone.
Right.
But behind the scenes, that app is probably tapping into multiple APIs.
Oh, interesting.
One for payment processing.
Okay.
Another for the mapping and location services,
Yeah.
Yet another one for sending those notifications to the restaurant.
Wow.
So that's APIs at work.
Yeah.
Silently orchestrating this whole complex process, you know? Right. Across all these different systems. And the beauty is those same APIs can be used to power other things too. Grocery delivery.
Interesting.
Ride-hailing services. All kinds of other applications.
So it's those APIs are the common language that all these different services speak, even if they come from totally different companies.
Yeah, exactly. But just like with our Lego analogy, even the most brilliant set of blocks, it's useless without clear instructions.
Right.
Medjaoui really emphasizes that for this whole vision of API reusability to work,
Yeah.
documentation,
Yeah.
support, developer-friendly design, Those things are non-negotiable.
So it's not enough to just build awesome APIs. You've got to make sure that people actually know how to use them.
Exactly. You got to make them easy to use.
Right.
And this actually brings us to another key insight from this presentation. Companies really need to kind of broaden their perspective on how APIs drive business growth.
Okay.
Direct monetization, while important, shouldn't always be like the main goal.
Wait, really? We're not just giving away these valuable Lego blocks for free?
Not necessarily. So Medjaoui, he uses the example of banks and financial apps.
Okay.
So a bank might not make money directly from their API,
Okay.
but by opening it up to developers, they're creating this whole ecosystem of financial tools and services.
Interesting.
Suddenly you've got budgeting apps, you've got investment platforms, you've got all these personalized financial management tools all plugging into that bank's data.
So the bank's API becomes a way to add value and attract customers without directly charging for access.
Exactly. You got it. It's a long game. And, this isn't just some hunch. This approach is actually backed up by research. Medjaoui cites the work of Marshall Van Alstyne, who found that companies with strong, B2B API strategies, they saw huge revenue and net income increases.
Wow.
Over a 10-year period.
So this is something that's actually working.
Yeah, it's not just theoretical. It's delivering real results.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of the API mindset. We've talked about the power of reusability, the potential of APIs to drive growth beyond just direct monetization. What else?
Okay, now get this, because Medjaoui, he lays out count them, 6 key trends that are shaping the future of the API landscape.
6 trends. All right, hit me.
All right. Trend number 1, API management, commoditization, and open source growth.
Okay.
So remember how we were saying that APIs are becoming mission critical for businesses? Well, this has led to a surge in powerful open source API management tools.
Okay.
Basically what I'm saying is managing your APIs is becoming way easier and way more affordable.
That's great.
Which is a huge game changer for businesses, no matter how big or small.
So no more clunky, expensive solutions.
Exactly.
This next.
All right, trend number 2, the impact of tech regulations.
Okay.
We're seeing governments all over the world stepping up with regulations, especially when it comes to things like open banking and data privacy.
Right. Tech regulation is definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
How is it impacting APIs specifically?
So these regulations, while some people see them as a burden, they're actually pushing industries towards more, interoperability and data sharing.
Interesting.
Take open banking, for example. By making it mandatory for banks to open up their data through APIs, it lets these fintech startups build new and innovative services on top of existing banking infrastructure.
So it's like governments are kind of becoming like API evangelists in a way.
In a way, yeah.
It's not just about compliance. It's about creating a better market.
Yeah, a more dynamic and competitive market for sure.
Yeah.
And this actually leads us right into trend number 3, the rise of industry-specific solutions.
Okay.
We're starting to see a lot of specialized API platforms and tools.
Yeah.
And they're designed for very specific industries.
Interesting.
Healthcare, insurance,
Yeah.
education, you name it.
So APIs aren't one size fits all anymore. It's about finding what works best for each specific sector.
Yeah, exactly. Each industry has its own unique challenges and its own opportunities, right? And as APIs become more and more central to how we do business, how we live our lives, what becomes really important?
What?
Security.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why trend number 4 is API security and privacy as standalone products.
Right. So it's not just an afterthought.
Exactly. It's not just a checkbox anymore.
Companies are really investing in protecting their APIs and the data that flows through them.
Absolutely. And that takes us to trend number 5, which Medjaoui calls APIs as foundational business infrastructure.
Okay.
APIs are no longer just connecting different systems,
Yeah.
They're becoming the backbone, the foundation of how businesses actually work.
So it's like APIs are the operating system of the modern business.
Exactly.
That's how information is shared. That's how teams communicate.
Yes, it's how value is created.
I like it.
And last but not least, we've got the rise of low-code, no-code platforms in the API world.
Low code, no code. Okay.
And this trend is really all about giving power to citizen developers.
Citizen developers.
People that may not have traditional coding experience, but they can still harness the power of APIs.
So we're talking about a future where you don't have to be a coding whiz to build cool things with APIs.
Exactly.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, imagine anyone with a good idea, right?
Right.
And just a little bit of understanding of these platforms can create really powerful applications That's the potential here.
It's like, here are the keys to the Lego store.
Right.
Go wild, build something awesome.
Yeah. It's a really exciting time to be watching this space, I'll tell you that.
For sure. Okay, so just to recap, what did we talk about? We've got, like, the commoditization of APIs, regulations actually driving some cool innovation, industry-specific solutions popping up. Oh, and security is, like, front and center now.
Yeah.
APIs are the backbone of how businesses work. And this whole rise of low-code, no-code platforms, man, that's a lot.
It really is. And I think it just highlights how much the API landscape is changing.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And, even if you're not, like, a developer yourself, just understanding these trends, it gives you a glimpse into the future. How we work,
Yeah.
how we live our lives, how we interact with technology. It's all changing thanks to APIs.
What really stood out to me about Mehdi Medjaoui's, take on all of this?
What's that?
This idea that APIs are not just a technology thing. It's how he connects it to a bigger picture, like, business strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
Absolutely. That API mindset we were talking about.
Yeah.
Thinking about how to use these building blocks.
Right.
To create actual value, right?
Right.
To work together better.
Right.
And ultimately,
Yeah.
to succeed in this world where everything's so interconnected.
Well, this deep dive has been awesome.
It has.
Super interesting to hear your take on it.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
We'll be sure to, like, link Medjaoui's presentation in the show notes, for folks that want to, like, go down this rabbit hole themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
It's really interesting. Until next time, keep diving.